Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Astrology and Coffee. I'm Megan with the Academy of Logic and Light, and I'm here with our teachers, Julie and Elle. Um, at the Academy of Logic and Light, we are a community educational platform that provides a safe space for people to practice their spirituality without being indoctrinated. We have monthly meetups here in Salt Lake City. We also are online on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. We even have a Facebook group where you can get involved with our classes and our events. And you can find us online at academyoflogicandlight.org. We also have a Patreon, so if you like what we're doing and you want to support us, you can find us over there. All of these links are also below in the description box. And then if you're interested in teaching with us or want to get involved with the Academy, you can reach out on social media, or you can email us at the academyoflogicandlight@gmail.com. So anyway, that's just my little spiel about the Academy. Today we're talking all about Sagittarius. And if you go to astro.com, you can find your birth chart and anything that you have that's in Sagittarius. So we're going to talk not only about a sun placement in Sagittarius, but your moon or Saturn, like little things like that. Will also be included. So look up what you have in Sagittarius. Go ahead and listen along, and then we will answer questions towards the end. So we're so excited to have everyone here, and I'm going to run a little intro and then turn the time over to our teachers. Thanks, all.
Thank you, Megan.
Woo, we did it.
We made it.
All right.
Sagittarius. I just want to say this is one of my favorite signs of the
It's
zodiac.
so fun.
It's so fun. It's actually my favorite, my most favorite. So if you're Sagittarius, I vibe with you. I fuck with you heavily. So always.
Yeah, I always enjoy seeing a good Sagittarius pop up in someone's chart. I'm like, oh yay, we can have adventures.
You're gonna be so fun. I should have like sent Megan this clip of my friend. She's Sagittarius and she's like in her own world doing a dance at the bar. Like she doesn't give a fuck. No one's around. She's just like doing her own dance, vibing to the music. I'm like, man, I should have sent that in because that was like true Sagittarius moment.
I love that. That's cute.
She's a good type.
Oh, let's see here. All right. Sagittarius facts, November 22nd to December 21st. We've got energetic, ambitious, generous, freedom-loving, and a seeker of challenge, open to new ideas and exploration. The duality is masculine, triplicity is fire, and quadruplicity is mutable. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, the most important Roman god, ruler of the heavens. Jupiter is the planet of good fortune, optimism, expansion, and abundance. Maybe this is why we love them so much.
They're so optimistic. It's like surreal how optimistic they are.
The Jupiter has the shortest days of all the planets. It turns on its axis once every 9 hours and 55 minutes. And Jupiter orbits the sun once every 11.8 Earth years, which is crazy. The affirmation is I see. The symbol is the archer, representing directness, high aims, a love of outdoor activities, and chase. The picture represents a The picture represents a free-range pointing arrow of the archer. It is also a picture of the human leg from thigh to knee. The part of the body Sagittarius rules. In symbolic terms, it is the line of wisdom angled away from the trouble and earthly concerns and pointing towards higher things. Let's see. The birthstone is turquoise, attracts love and protects from harm, and gives the wearer the ability to see the future. Also, fun fact, turquoise is a traveler's stone, they call it. Good luck for traveling. Fun facts, purple, which oh my gosh, my cat just started like throwing things off. And I'm like, I thought he was a Sagittarius, but I think he's a Leo. He's just throwing.
He says, I hate Sagittariuses.
He's like, you're in my way. Stop. The special colors is purple, an uncommon color of royalty and the artistic. The lucky day is Thursday. Lucky numbers are 5 and 7. And the metal is tin, which I don't know that one.
Sure.
Yeah. The flowers are narcissus, holly, and dandelion. Trees are mulberry, oak, and birch. And cities are Budapest, Cologne, Toledo, and Acapulco. And countries, oh my gosh, Winston, no. Countries are Spain, Hungary, and Australia. Right.
Interesting. Fun. Well, Sagittarius. So every like sign has their like theme, right? Like I think of like Scorpio, it's like mysterious and sexual and all these things. Libra's like love, Virgo's organized, and we can go through and everybody has like a theme. Like no matter if it's your sun, moon, whatever, this planet, the sign, they hold their energy. And Sagittarius is positivity, upbeat. They have a lot of energy. They're mutable, so they're very like constantly changing, shifting, moving, but they're also a fire sign, so they have a lot of energy. They've got a lot of energy they need to burn off. So there's when I see like Sagittarius, they're always like doing something. They're always busy. This is not your couch potato. This is not your Taurus energy just chilling. They are, what can we do? What can we do? At the party, they're trying to help people, or like not organized. They're trying to help people set things up. They're trying to, who needs help where? What can I do? Like that's just their overall energy. A Sagittarius Sun, they are, like I said, very movement oriented. They're outgoing, optimistic, but they're also like philosophers. They love to study things. They have a broad understanding of just like how things work and how, or the what's and the whys. Philosophy is just something they really enjoy because they're curious how it all works. There's just a curiosity there. It's kind of like Gemini, but they're polarities, so they're the opposites. So they're different, but they are very similar in their sense of curiosity and want to learn. Gemini is curious because they want to communicate and they want to express things. Sagittarius is more like they just want to have the general knowledge to have because they're curious naturally. So if you have a Sagittarius Sun, you're generally pretty lucky. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, the planet of luck and abundance. So if you have Sagittarius placements, you probably find yourself in very fortunate situations. If your Jupiter, we don't normally go over Jupiter, but if your Jupiter is in Sagittarius, you probably have a lot of luck that comes your way. It's just one of those placements that really just is beneficial and great to have because things just always sort of work out for you. Finances always seem to come through. My husband's Jupiter is in Sagittarius, and I just sit back and I'm like, wow, I never knew that this life existed. I didn't know that people got this lucky, but you know, here you are, and it's like very obvious. So very, very lucky you have Sagittarius placements. Now, a Sagittarius moon is a little different. These people can be emotional, like they can be reactive emotional, but they're over it so quickly. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. Whatever, you suck, and then walk away. Like I can't tell you how many of my friends that are Sagittarius moons that are just so reactive. Even like my emotional ones, like Cancer. I have a Cancer friend with Sagittarius moon. She's just over it so quick. It's like, whatever. They're really funny. They're friendly. They're just like, I think, very interesting humor. I wouldn't say it's dark humor, but it's kind of like inappropriate humor. It's like, I don't think you should say that, but it is funny. So you're right. So I love a Sagittarius moon. I love all Sagittarius placements, but that's just kind of the Sagittarius moon, what it looks like in the moon area. They don't fill a ton. They're not a super filly sign to have in a moon placement, but they do react and they do fill things. They're just over it super quick. Do you watch Ginny and Georgia?
Oh yeah, I did. It was good actually.
I love that show. But the best friend, I don't know her name, the crazy girl. She's crazy. Like she meets her, she's like, oh my God, I love you. And she's like going on and she's just talking and Jenny's just looking at her. What is her name? My daughter would know.
I cannot think of it.
Do you know what I'm talking about though? The one that acts and doesn't play? The most the most Sagittarius. Like, she has a full-on conversation with this person that doesn't say a word, and then at the end she's like, okay, let's go grab lunch. Like, just so out there. That is true Sagittarius form right there. And so sun or moon, I would say she's probably like a Sagittarius stellium for sure. Multiple planets in Sagittarius with that one. So, which brings me to Mercury. All things positive and happy, but when your Mercury's in Sagittarius, Sagittariuses are, they like the truth about things, and so they can lack tact. They can say things very directly. One of my really good friends growing up, the way she talks to her husband drives me nuts because he's truly nice. And she's just like, are you stupid? I'm like, don't say that. It's so mean. She's like, no, he's being stupid. He's an Aries, so he's fine. But I'm like,
You got thick skin.
I'm like, but he's so nice to her. And she's like, he just acts like he's so, stupid and like idiot. And she just walks away. And I'm like, he's like, she has a really good heart. That's why I just try to like smile, because I know that there's a good heart in there. Because they genuinely are good people. Maybe a little dishonest, maybe very, lack of tact, but they're good people down through the core, most of
I
them.
prefer honest and blunt.
Yeah. You know where you stand, which I always appreciate.
Yes. Yeah, you don't have to guess, which is like a safe place for me to be in. I like to know. But two of my friends have Sagittarius Sun, the Mercury, and their Mars are all Sag. Very blunt people.
I was going to say, are they very direct and very action-oriented?
Yes.
Yeah.
They get shit done.
Yes. They're the ones you want when you really need to get things done. No, that's good. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just like sometimes, like I think my Libra and my Sagittarius kind of play off of each other a little bit, because my Libra is very kind and very sweet. And sometimes I want to say things like, really, like, did you think about this before you reacted or did something? You know what I mean? But then I pull back and I'm like, that's not nice. Think about how that would make them feel. So I do have that, thank God. But I do sometimes almost say things that I'm like, that's really mean. I should not say that. But
I think we've all been there.
Yes, Sagittarius placements are not.
Yeah.
Okay, Sagittarius Venus. So this is how you love. This is how you are in relationships. Sagittarius is very spontaneous. They don't want an itinerary of what you've done every Saturday for the past year. That is absolutely the worst thing you could do for a Sagittarius Venus. You need to be spontaneous. You need to be like, hey, let's take an airplane ride and like maybe jump out of it like next weekend. How does that sound? That's kind of the energy for Sagittarius Venus. They love spontaneous. They love being crazy. They love excitement. They love adrenaline. So anytime that you can bring that out in them, that's beneficial, because then that's kind of like their love language. I know it's not really a love language, but the crazier you are, the more they're going to love you. So if you have a Sagittarius Venus in your life, unless they're like a Virgo Sun, I mean, this is all based on like a whole chart, but a lot of Sagittarius Venus, if you want them to like you, jump out of an airplane. For fun. Not because it's crashing, but for fun. They need to be free in relationships. So that's the other thing, is if you are a Sagittarius Sun or Venus, something that's really important to you, the Venus in relationships, they don't want to feel trapped. They don't want to feel controlled. They need to feel like you respect them, love them, and trust them. And I'm not saying that this is the most trustworthy placement for a Venus, but it can be. And they need to feel free, or it's really not going to work. And honestly, if you press them for, like needing to be controlling, they're probably going to go in the opposite direction. You're not going to get the best quality of relationship from this person if you're being like that. They're, like you said, they're fun and they're free. Open relationships are something that I've noticed that I see a big pattern in Venuses in Sagittarius. So they like variety, and they want to be with someone who can be understanding to that. So they're half horse, half human, like this animal human thing. So that it's just very monotonous. Relationships are sometimes very difficult for them, unless you're maybe the right person, I would say. You're like, yes.
No comment.
They do struggle. Mars and Sagittarius. Responsive, action-oriented, always busy. I was saying that at the beginning. They're the people at the party, like, what can I do? Where can I help? Oh, they hear something crash. They're like, oh, let me go make sure that doesn't need to be cleaned up. They're very active. They have a lot of energy. And they just have a lot of energy. I mean, that's the most that I can say for Sagittarius Mars. They get things done. They're good friends to have when you have projects that you need to do. And they do things right too. They're not just like, oh, let's get things done. They do make sure that they're done correctly, which is nice. So good overall to have some Sagittarius in your chart. The rising, this is my rising, so I'm very biased to it. But we like to be the life of the party. We're positive, or we have a positive outlook. We're fortunate. We're truly free souls. Like I can't express like how, like I'm so free that people are annoyed at how I'm like, oh, this person wanted to go do this, so I let them. My kids, like someone who looks at my situation, I have kids like that live in, you know, they're like, hey, I want to live with my dad this year, or I want to live with you this year. I let them choose where they want to live because I don't want to control them. People are like, no, these are my kids. I'm like, no, like I want them to be free. I want them to make their own choices. And so I parent very Sagittarius. Like I'm a free range parent. I know that annoys a lot of people, but I am that person. I think it's good for them. So I believe that if you have a Sagittarius rising, you view the world very positively. You're very free. You're open to all ideas. It's sometimes hard to make a decision, especially if you have a Libra sun, because you see all the sides and you want everyone to make the best choice for them. And so sometimes that gets a little blurry because people look at you like, can you make up your mind? Or you have no real substance. Like you're just like you, everything goes, you know? So there's that, like you have to sometimes find that line of like, okay, this is who I am, and not be so like goofy. But I'm very spontaneous. Rising, sun, moon, all of these placements for Sagittarius are just, you know, spontaneous, fun, light. We're light, energetic, all the things. So
I love it.
those are the planets. And again, we don't go into Jupiter, but if you have a Sagittarius Jupiter, you're very lucky. See, look at you. It's a very fortunate. Yeah. Things work out though. I feel like things work out for you and you see the positive side of it and you're like, okay.
Yes.
You have a stellium, so
yeah.
Yeah, that's a real huge benefit. Okay. In the houses. Sorry, my newborn did not sleep very good last night. So I keep yawning, like Megan's intro. I'm like yawning. I'm like, I'm so sorry. We did not get a good night's sleep. Sagittarius in the first house. So I try to kind of go over this every week. First house, Aries, you know, that Aries energy, fiery, strong personality. These people can be very stubborn. But it's a good placement. It's a good energy flowing house for Sagittarius. So anytime I see things in the first house, suns, moons, well, depending on which planet it is, it gives me this impression that self is very important. And depending on what the sun is, it being in Sagittarius in the first house, self is probably very positive. You have a very positive outlook on yourself. You view yourself positively, things like that. So there's a real strong sense of self. And that's a really good house to have your sun in. The second house is a very lucky house for Sagittarius. So actually, no, I'm thinking the eighth house. This one's lucky too. I was going to say something totally different, but I was thinking eighth house, not second house. These people are hard workers. They spend money on things that involve adventure. Like these people, I don't know if you guys have family or know people that I have friends that have Sagittarius in the second house, and they spend so much money on like travel. Like they have like 7 different types of like, they have like canoes, and then they have like paddle boards, but they have like 12 different kinds. And I'm like, why do you need all these? I'm like, oh, this is for this and this is for that, and I do this one for this. And I'm just like, I would have just like had one and like push through whatever, you know, like it probably been a lot more difficult. But they spend a lot of money on things that are really important to them, and that they a lot of times involve adventure, because Sagittarius is always on an adventure.
That is very true.
Yes. They're exciting. And they're responsible with finances. I'd say Sagittarius overall is a responsible. They can be reactive and they can be like impulsive buyers. But when you have Sagittarius in the second house, I think it really kind of helps them because second house has got that Taurus energy. Taurus are responsible. They're, they don't spend a lot. They're very frugal and things like that. So it kind of gives it the Sagittarius Sun, that like sort of energy. So a good placement. Sagittarius in the third house. These are the talkers. A lot of times they don't listen. Again, Maxine is the girl's name. Maxine. If you've watched Ginny and Georgia, I would say Maxine is a Sagittarius in the third house. These people there's so much. They have Sagittarius, which is so curious, so can be self-absorbed, in the third house of Gemini, which are communicators, mental, stimulation, Mercury rolled. Like, there's just so much going on. It's so fast. It's like a lot. So a lot of talking, not a lot of listening. I know we've all met that Sagittarius that just talks and talks, and you're like, at the end of it, you're just kind of like, okay, that was great. I know everything about you, and I'm going to go now because that was a lot. So Sagittarius in the third house. Not bad, just very, very communicative. Sorry, I have like all these things coming through my phone. Sagittarius in the fourth house. This is a fun placement. I feel like this really softens a Sagittarius Sun. They're a fun parent. They like to be involved in family things. Their family, you read those families that are always on an adventure doing fun things. Sorry, my nose is running. And I'm actually going to go blow my nose. Give me 2 seconds. Sorry.
No worries.
I'll let them take over for a second.
Sagittarius fourth house. The fun parent likes to involve family in everything that they do. And family is more of friends than family. I think that was right. A slow start this morning. The coffee has not kicked in for me. Come back.
Okay, so sorry. Okay. One of the things did you go over the fourth? Did you say
I just read it.
Okay. One of the things with the fourth house in Sagittarius is sometimes these people do struggle being like too family, like the traditional family. They need it to be very spontaneous and different. They need it to be not like traditional. These are not traditional parents that work 9 to 5s. They probably do like different jobs, different things to provide for their family. But their family is very important. So these people do have what it takes to be great family parents, father, mother, whatever. But they don't do it in a traditional way. It's very untraditional. So sorry, I am struggling today, clearly.
Same.
We've been remodeling a house. So I have like dust and things in I normally don't have allergies, so this is new to me. And I'm just like, what is happening? My eyes are watering. My nose is running. It's very new. Okay. Sagittarius in the fifth house. The fifth house represents children. And this placement can be an indication that this person will have multiple children. So anytime I see someone with this placement, like I know someone that's younger and they're not of age to have children yet, but I am watching his chart very closely because I'm curious to see if he has a lot of children, because I wouldn't think that of his personality, but I see that he has placements of his Sagittarius in the fifth house, and I'm like, this should be interesting. So
I think the best part of astrology is just the data collection.
all the things, just like figuring it out. Like, yeah, I mean, that's why it's so fun to me, because I do learn new things. I do things come to me differently in different ways, and it's like, like it's always an aha moment when I'm like, I've been studying this for 20 years and I never realized that.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy. So this is an artist type, very theatrical. The 5th house is Leo energy, right? So Leo likes to be the center of attention. You throw someone who's very theatrical in the 5th house, it's kind of like they were born to shine. So these are very vibrant, fun, creative people. So Sagittarius in the 5th house, very good placement. I put rodeo clowns for the 6th house because it's just like makes so much sense. Like it's very like they're there to do a job. So when you have Sagittarius in the 6th house, these people are still kind of funny, right? A rodeo clown makes sense. You're there to protect the person riding the bull. I don't know a lot about rodeoing, is that what it's called? Rodeos, but I do know that there's a clown that's like trying to get the bull's attention. I mean, that's very dangerous. And, you know, someone's got to do it. And I just think of Sagittarius in the 6th house, like, oh, come after me, not the person trying to ride you, because that makes no sense. But, you know, and then there are always like these bright colors. I don't know. It just gives me mad Sagittarius in the 6th house vibes. And so I put it in there just to talk about it because.
Little danger.
Yeah, like, ooh, I'm a service to someone. I'm like taking this potential pain from the bull's horns away from you to me. Like, you know. That's like a service. Also, they like studies. They dig deep into things. Sagittarius is, you know, like I've said, philosophies kind of things. So studying health and ways to be healthy. This is also a placement for a lot of travel. So like traveling nurses. Let's see, like the first responders, things like that are high intense, like fast and kind of scary. Like these are kind of placements for, I would see like a Sagittarius in the 6th house, maybe like SWAT team, you know, just the people that it's very extreme, but you're doing your job. It requires being extreme, but also being of service to other people. So kind of like ties in there. Sagittarius Sun in the 7th house. So Sagittariuses are naturally kind of flirty. And so when you have a Sagittarius in the 7th house of relationships, it kind of can be, it's like fun flirty. They're not very serious people having relationships. I think they're just kind of like, oh, you've been dating this person for 7 years. When are you guys planning on getting married? Like, married? We're nowhere near getting married. Like, 7 years is definitely not long enough to be dating someone to think about marriage, you know? So that's kind of that aspect of it. They're just free, and the relationships are fun, and it should be fun. And again, they like being free in relationships. So this gives them that kind of just relationships matter, and they probably have a lot of them, but they're not like too serious. So they like to keep it light and fun.
I wish my friend was on this one today. She has a stellium in the 7th house, and her Sagittarius Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars are all in the 7th house.
Is she very fun and free?
She's so fun and free, but she's planning her wedding. So I'll be like,
good.
I wish she was
How
here.
long have they been together, though?
I don't know.
Probably a while.
I have to ask. I don't want to like mess it up on a live stream.
Yeah. 3 months. Well, I mean, they can be spontaneous too, because it could be very short-lived, but a lot of times they're just in no rush to make it like super final. Like marriage is forever. It's it. It's the end. But yeah, so yeah, I'd be curious how long they've been together, because typically they're not in any rush.
Yeah.
But he could be.
I have to check.
Check it.
I have a new mission.
You're like, no, I need to know. See, I think I would never get married, but it means something to my husband. I would go forever. And I don't have Sagittarius in the 7th house. Mine is all in the 9th house. But that's probably another indication of why I'm like, oh, marriage is so serious and so forever. Can't we just like go jump over some fire in the woods and call it good? Like, I'll do it with you. Like, I'll be loyal and yours forever. But do we have to make it so legal? I hate that. I hate it. But I'm a supportive partner, and I'm happy to do it. So it's actually like 3 weeks away. So that too. House, we're like redoing a house. We're planning a wedding party. It's been a lot. I'm busy. This is busy.
Very
season for me.
busy.
Very. Okay. Sagittarius in the 8th house. This is what I was trying to say earlier when I got caught up in the 2nd house. I don't know what that was about. This is a very lucky placement because the 8th house is Scorpio energy, but like other people's resources, and Sagittarius being ruled by Jupiter, it's like very lucky, very fortunate. So these people accumulate a lot of, getting really rowdy back there, a lot of resources from other people. Shh. I have children and they speak very loudly and they forget that I'm doing a live and they're just like Gemini back there. Just gonna throw that out there. But yeah, so this is a very fortunate placement because Sagittarius, Jupiter, they accumulate a lot of other people's resources. And so like you get put in some random old man's will and that's what happens. You know, that's great. This is that kind of energy. So they deal with death easier than most because I feel like what I've researched with Sagittarius is their mind is so expansive that they have this capability to understand things differently than most and kind of take the emotion out of it. So when they think about death, it's more of like, this is just part of life. And this is, you know, whatever it is they believe, whether they're Christian or not, and they believe there's an afterlife, or they're atheist and nothing happens. It's like they have come to terms and they can accept that. And so death is kind of easier for them. It does give them a more serious energy. Sagittarius in the 8th house can be more direct, but like serious, have a serious tone to them. And then they also, this is a placement where if upset or hurt, they can be a little more aggressive or really just kind of cruel to hurt people with words. So, I mean, they take it a little more sensitive. They're a little more sensitive. So when they get hurt, they sting back a little harder. So 8th house, Sagittarius, Suns. Okay. The 9th house. This is my favorite because these are my placements. Free spirit, loves nature, works to play. They don't play to, or they don't work to just have money. They work so they can play. That's what they really go to work for. They're like, house, cool, whatever, cool. Can I go travel to some other foreign country? Yes, that's what I'm here for. So that's why they work, is to enjoy life. They truly do enjoy life. They, you know, the 9th house is Sagittarius ruled. So it's like Sagittarius, double energy. It's just they have this way about them that they are so carefree though that they don't have real tangible like things. Like they're just kind of aloof. They're just kind of there. Gypsies, if you will. Which I don't see anything wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
So
probably flight attendants too.
Yes. Yeah. Like you guys love to travel. And this is like the perfect job for you, is something that requires you to travel all the places. Yeah. It's perfect. All right. Sagittarius in the 10th house. These are a little more serious in work. They're very focused and they're more organized. So anytime Sagittarius, 10th house represents career and public role. They are very positive about their work. They make sure that they love their work. They enjoy their work, but they take it a little more serious, like than a 9th house placement. 9th house is, like I said, work to play. That's why they're there. 10th house, they want status and it's important to them. So they work really hard to create this life and this status and, just this career that they want. I don't see a Sagittarius in the 10th house doing something they don't love. Like, you know how you see people and they're like, oh my God, I hate my job. I have to go to work. That's not the vibe here. It's definitely like, I love my job and I do this. And so it's very positive, happy, and upbeat. So again, not a bad placement. The Sagittarius in the 11th house, friend you call when you need something. They're very much there for you. They're down for anything. Humanitarians. Every time I get into the 11th house, I kind of throw that in there because that is the energy of the 11th house. Very outgoing. Also can be a troublemaker. So these people can get themselves into a lot of trouble because they don't really know boundaries, and they also don't care about like the legal like rules. These are very rebellious people. Sagittarius, I haven't touched on that, can be very rebellious in general because they want to like, you know, they believe what their beliefs are, and whether it's like you're supposed to do this or not supposed to do this, if this is legal or not legal, they don't really have respect for laws. A lot of them lack respect for laws. I actually have a Sagittarius friend who follows cops, records them, and is like watching them all the time. And the cops will be like, you can't record. And he's like, he knows his rights. Like he knows his rights through and through. He's like, I can record you.
Wow.
And like, he switches things around and he loves it. I need to see. I think his is in the 11th house.
Oh, I'd be interested.
I'm pretty sure. It's been a really long time since I've done his birth chart, but I'm pretty sure his sun is in the 11th house. But yeah, he's very, like, he is not intimidated by the justice system. He's been through it. He's represented himself in court and actually won. Like, I know, he's very smart. He's like very, very smart. But if you look at all of his cases, because I remember pulling him up one time and I was like doing his chart and I was like, wow, you really did all this. And he's like, yeah. He likes to stick it to the man. He's one of those.
Oh yeah.
So it's very, very entertaining to watch. So 11th house kind of have that going on too, but also a very good friend, very loving, very kind. And then the 12th house. Sagittarius in the 12th house, very dreamy. They research a lot and they can be sensitive to other realms. These people can unlock, you know, they do a lot of like research and they do a lot of studying and they kind of sometimes go down these rabbit holes, and then it's something that's like a cult or something like witchcraft, and they go down this dark hole, and then they find themselves, you know, they're very fearless too, so they find themselves on a Ouija board and unlocking spirits into the world. You know, they're very sensitive to that because they're the ones that are like, no, let's try it. I don't believe it. Let's see if it's real. And they're there to try it, and lo and behold, spirits arrive.
As one would expect.
I know. They're like, well, I gotta try it. Before I'm gonna believe it, I gotta try it and see it. And so they do. And then they're like, shit, this thing is attached to me for life.
Yeah, I don't mess with those things. Let's see here. We've got the gypsy, the teacher, the philosopher, and the shaman. High road Sagittarius is adventurous, a truth seeker, optimistic, and generous. Where a low road Sagittarius is overindulgent, blunt, righteous, and sarcastic.
Is sarcastic bad?
I don't think so, and I don't think blunt is either.
I'm like, wait, I love sarcasm when I understand it. If I don't, then I just there. But I'm like, no, that should be. But yeah, I can see where some people.
It might be like triggering for some. Yeah. The polarity is Gemini, which I think Sagittarius and Geminis get along pretty good in my experience that I've seen anyways. Like they're both chatty. They could go on forever.
So most of my best friends are Sagittarius and my husband loves them. But sometimes he's like, he needs to like just takes he's got a lot of Taurus dominant placements, but he needs to take but he's a Gemini and he loves them, he adores them, but he's like, I just need to like prepare myself for when they're coming over, when they're coming around, because he's like, your friends like Oklahoma, Utah, I've got a mix of them, and he's like, okay, I need to prepare myself. But males, he always vibes with. You're right, they chit chat, they talk. I don't know what it is about the feminine energy that just like is so much. He's just like, I'm so much for him sometimes. He's like, I need you to bring it down. He's like, you've had too much coffee or something. Yeah, something. How much coffee? He asks me often, how much coffee have you had today? I'm like, am I doing it again?
Not enough.
So yeah, they do. They do vibe really well. They have a lot to talk about. And so as long as it's not that Sagittarius in the 3rd house, because then the Gemini gets no talking.
Yeah.
And they don't love that.
They need to talk. Life lessons are moderation, emotional honesty, and open mind. And the esoteric is seeking your truth first, awakening through disruption, and release idealism.
Ooh,
those feel like really heavy, like early morning thoughts. Like I can't even begin to break those down yet.
Very Sagittarius, like I'm telling you, philosophy, I'm like, oh, I read things and I'm like, this is like the Sagittarius's dream. I don't understand it, but I know that there's a Sagittarius out there like really breaking this down.
Body parts ruled by Sagittarius is the liver, the hips, and the thighs, which we will go over soon. Okay, so we're actually going to do this in reverse, and if we have any questions, we're going to answer them now, just in case Ella has to go. She's remodeling her house, so get your questions ready. We've got Selena's up on here today.
This is my girlfriend I was telling you that was doing the dance in the club.
Oh yeah,
and, like in her own little world. She's the one. Like she's a Sagittarius Sun, Gemini Moon, and a Leo Rising. I'm pretty sure.
Oh wow.
And she is just like
In her
so
vibe.
much. She's so fun. Like there's not you don't have a better time. Like if she's there. We went to Atlanta together. We went to Magic City Strip Club. And let me tell you, we had so much fun. We were like, well, first we were ordering these shots. And we're like, oh yeah, Casamigos, we'll take it. We didn't know they were like $21 a shot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we were really shocked by that. But other than that, we were like, we loved it. We were eating like the best food. She would just roll up in the club, in the restaurant. She'd smoke. She didn't care. I was like, look at you. I'm like, I'll just have a mimosa. It was fun. She's a fun girl.
That sounds fun.
Oh, her Sag is in the 5th house, and she does have multiple children. She just had a baby. She's the one that I was actually going to go to the hospital with.
Oh yeah.
And be there. Yeah. So.
Oh, very cool.
But very fun, very artist, and she is very super blunt. Yes. When I first met her, I thought she was a Capricorn. She was like sitting in the back of this room and like barely talking. It was mornings. She's not a morning person. And I like went over to her and I was like trying to talk to her and she was kind of like not interested. I was like, are you a Capricorn? I was like, she's already not interested. So I'm really just going to be like, go for it. And she was like, no, I'm a Sag. I was like, oh. And we became besties.
I love that. Cute.
Yeah.
She said 5th house. Oh, and her daughter has a Sag moon.
I wonder if it's Nay or Sam. I feel like it's Sam because I think Nay's like her one daughter. So 2 of her daughters are Cancers, and the last one just became a Gemini. She was almost a Cancer. You fire people having your water babies. I'll never understand it. I have so many fire signs that have water babies, and I'm like, they're going to be too emotional. Yeah, for sure.
There's definitely a lesson in there.
100%.
My friend is like pregnant with twins right now, and the whole house is a water sign, and they're like, we need to hurry up and have these babies before it becomes Leo season.
Then it's a lesson for the parents.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, we don't want Leo twins.
Oh my gosh. Male or female or both?
One of each.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
See, I can handle a Leo woman all day long. They're so, to me, the easiest to get along with, but a Leo male energy is so hard.
I feel the opposite.
I know. We have very different experiences with opposite sex.
Yeah, if you haven't checked out our Leo video, we roasted the Leos, and it was hilarious.
And we got called out for it, but that's okay.
We did, actually, a few times off camera, too.
Like, what's your problem? Like, I was as nice as I could be.
There we are. Well-armed witch. Do you have any advice for Saturn and Sag?
Yes. So Saturn is, I do actually. Saturn is like lessons, right? So the one thing I would say if Saturn and Sag, depending on like the houses and the degrees, it could be either loosen up and have fun or tighten up and don't have too much fun. I don't know which direction I'd have to look at everything, but Saturn and Sagittarius is maybe learning your lessons through experiences and pretty heavy things, like having pretty traumatic things happen, or maybe that aren't so much traumatic, but to you are traumatic, right? Like what's traumatic to one person may not be as traumatic to another. So it's all about your other planets and placements and how you experience things. But there's a big lesson in learning things through experiencing them, through physically going through things, you know, whether this be like some sort of like physical boot camp that's really challenging, or it could be an emotional thing. Just make sure that you stay positive through it. I feel like this is kind of a positive. You learn, like you have something happen and you're like, oh, okay, well, I can make it through. You see the bigger picture and you can kind of see the what you're supposed to gain from the experience. So there is that positive kind of aspect there, but just try to embrace the challenge and try to be positive about it, whatever the challenge may be. A lot of times when I see Saturn in a fire sign, I tend to think it's a physical thing, maybe health, or, you know, like I said, like a boot camp or something. Very active, pushing you through things physically. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's just kind of, and again, it depends on the house too, but
That damn Saturn.
the daddy of the zodiac, teaching us all the lessons. So annoying.
I know, we've been talking about this week. I'm deep diving into it.
Well, you and I, the Scorpio Saturn,
Yeah.
we have to sacrifice our souls to others to teach others. It's rude.
It's very rude.
Oh yeah, Selena does have a lot of Capricorn placements. I could have guessed that when I first met her. I was like, you give off mad Capricorn energy. I'm just
My friend Kaylee does the same. She's Sagittarius, mostly Sag and Capricorn, so it's very well balanced.
Yes, and you're the opposite. You're Capricorn with a lot of Sagittarius.
Yeah.
Very
Which
nice.
is funny because when you look at Kaylee's life and my life, she's 10 years junior to me, but we always show up dressed to wearing the exact same thing almost every single time.
I love that.
We'll buy like almost the same things for our apartments, like without even consulting each other. I'm like, okay, you just buy all your stuff and let's just rotate design.
Yeah.
We're going to buy
I like what you have. You like what I have. We'll just like rotate it, change it up every once in a while.
Exactly.
Nay, okay. Aries rising. So her daughter's a Cancer Sun, Sagittarius Moon, and Aries rising. And she's so chill, dude.
Oh, that doesn't look very chill at all.
No, but she really is. She's chilling. Like, I mean, yeah, no, she's a little spicy towards her sister, but other than that, she's very respectful.
Those are all spicy signs.
I know, yeah. No, she's great. She's a good kid. Oh, and Sam, yeah, that makes sense. She's Cancer, Libra. She's a sweetheart. So, good kids, great kids. I love it. All right. And if anyone has any other questions, I actually have to bounce. I got things to do. So, you're going to play the video, and next week.
Capricorn.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Yeah, I'm excited to learn more about Capricorn next week.
Yes, and all the houses. What's your sun in? I never can remember.
My son's Capricorn, yeah.
In what house, though? Sorry.
In the 5th house.
Oh, fun. That's fun.
I don't remember what the 5th house is again. Family?
It's like fun. No, that's 4th house. It's like fun, creative, just a fun house. You're having fun. Travel. Well, travel's more 9th house, but it can indicate like fun and just like a free, because the 5th house is so like, it's more of like the lust area. It's more of like the shallow end of the pool. Like, it's not very deep. It's just kind of there. So
Cool. That sounds like my summer.
You're like very fun, very lustful. I love that.
I have a theme this summer.
I love it. I'm here for it. I'm like sitting with my popcorn. Julie's life. Now I can add Capricorn in the 5th house life, you know, like now I have that.
Well, thank you so much, and I will see you next week.
All right, bye guys.
Hanging around, stay tuned. We're gonna play the video from Kat in just a second.
Hi everyone. Okay, the Sagittarius body parts are hips and thighs, which to me is very Sagittarius. The hips and thighs are responsible for holding our whole body upright, which to me is very Sag energy, because Sagittarius, when they're out of balance, I think oftentimes feel like a little grandiose. I'm the best. I'm the body parts that hold it all together. But at the same time, hips and thighs tend to be the body parts that get very rigid the fastest, which is also very Sagittarius energy to me. There's a lack of flexibility often in that energy. So I'm going to demonstrate to you some stretching techniques for the hips and thighs the best I can without another body to work on. So great hip flexion or stretching exercises have to do with bending and then leaning into the stretch. I'm sure this is very familiar. Pulling across, feeling the stretch deep, deep, deep into the hips. Same thing, leaning into that stretch, feeling it through the glutes and into the hips. All of the muscles of your glutes and your thighs attach around the bones of your hip joints. There's a lot of muscle activity that happens in that area. Lots of little muscles, lots of big muscles. It's definitely an area that you do not want to neglect. It can lead to a lot of issues, especially the older that you get. Staying flexible in your hips and in your thighs is really important to the longevity of your muscle movement as you get older. If you can, if you have a partner, one of the best stretching exercises you can do is to find your hip bone and just go to the back side of it and have your partner push in while you're rotating your leg. You can kind of do it for yourself, but it's a little bit awkward and not quite as good. It's also better if you're using your forearm to push into this area, just right around your hip socket bone, right where your femur connects to your hip. If you can lean your forearm into that area while you're, forearm, not yours, while you're moving your leg, you can definitely feel it stretching so many muscles that you probably wouldn't even recognize that you have. If you don't have a partner like I don't today, you can use your fist and just kind of work your way around. It's probably going to feel tender, and that's a good sign that those muscles have been neglected. They're a little bit tight, they're a little bit not feeling so much love. So if it is a little bit tender, just take it easy, but kind of just rotate your fist around that ball and socket joint. Another great thing to do is stretching out your hamstrings. One of the best ways to stretch out your hamstrings is to push into the stretch for a few minutes. Let's see if I can demonstrate this for you. So you push in, push in, push in, release, and then you're going to push down against the floor, against your surface for 10 seconds, as hard as you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're going to release, and then you should automatically see how much more you can lean into that stretch. Pushing down against the stretch really, really adds mobility into the muscles. You can do this with any muscle, by the way, not just your hamstrings, but oftentimes people neglect hamstrings and they get very tight, and tight hamstrings pull on your hips and that pulls on your lower back. So if you also experience lower back pain, stretching out your hamstrings can really, really help alleviate some back pain. So those are the muscles, the body parts for Sagittarius, and we will see you next week.
Thank you, Kat.
Yay. Thanks so much, Kat. That was fantastic. Also, thank you, Julie and Elle. That was a great chat today, all about Sagittarius. And then next week we'll be back, same time, Tuesday morning, 9 a.m. for Capricorn.
Woo.
Yay!
It may
All
sound
right.
boring, but it's not.
Stay tuned for all of Julie's tea.
We'll roast all the Capricorns.
Perfect. All right.
Thank you, Megan.
Yes,
See you
thank you.
next
Have a
week.
great week.
Bye.
Bye.